Hey there, tech fans. Rick here again with another review. And today, I have the Denon DHT-S217 digital soundbar. This product is perfect for upgrading the audio on your home media setup for that theater-like experience. Everything you need to get started is included with the box, and with a few simple connections, you can be up and running in no time. It really is plug and play simple. Now, before I get too deep into all the cool features that Denon has built into this soundbar, I'd like to start with an unboxing just to show you everything that's included, and that way you'll understand exactly what you get if you buy this product. And then I'll dive into those features because there are a lot of different soundbar solutions on the market, and what Denon has tried to do with the DHT-S217 is build a product that gives you every possible option for connection to your monitor and also provides a lot of cool features that you may not find in other products in the market. So I'll dive into those, and as I'm going through those, I'll explain why those make a difference, because there are a lot of marketing terms out there, a lot of confusing technologies, so understanding exactly what you need probably gives you the best value you can find in a soundbar. So let's get started with the unboxing. When you first open up the box, you'll find the soundbar. It's packed really well. It's inside styrofoam. It's going to be really nice when you open it up. It's got a beautiful cloth front on it here. It fits into any decor. It looks really nice. Included with that, you'll also find a lot of documentation. There's a full quick start guide. It's really important to read through that, and I know you can probably figure a lot of this out on your own, but there are features in this product that explains completely, and you'll want to make sure you get the best value out of the product. So as boring as it sounds, always read through the quick start guide, because I promise you'll find things in there you may not have figured out on your own. Also included is a caution guide. Make sure you use this correctly. There are batteries in the remote, so they put a little guide in there to talk about how to get rid of the batteries, what kind of batteries to use, those type of things. There's warranty information, and then there's another piece of documentation, which I think is great. It's a guide for mounting it. So it's actually a template you can use to stick up on the wall to know exactly where you've got to drill the holes if you decide to mount this on your wall. And a lot of people like to mount these up on the wall underneath your monitor, and a great way to do it, but I want to make sure that you drill those holes in the sheetrock exactly where they need to be, because if you've ever made a mistake and drilled it in the wrong spot, you got to get the spackling compound out to fix that. So use that template. All right, in addition to the soundbar, you'll also find an AC cord. Now, I'm going to talk about this just a little bit because it's a small point, but it's an important one. A lot of the soundbars on the market use an external power supply, which is this brick that has to be located someplace. Now, there's a couple of problems with that. The brick is responsible for converting the AC from your home wall outlet into DC to power the actual soundbar. This unit plugs directly into the wall. So you've got a connector in this end, which plugs into the back of the soundbar, and a standard plug in this end, which you can use on any outlet in your home. And the reason that's important is because that brick, number one, is hard to hide. It's this big thing you've got to slide behind your monitor. But more importantly, over time, that can go bad. That power supply can become defective, especially if you get brownouts or power surges or lightning strikes near your home. And if that goes bad, you can't use the soundbar. So then you've got to go hunt for another replacement that's exactly the same with the right connectors and the right voltage. And it's a headache, plus it's expensive. By building the power supply into the soundbar, they've eliminated all those problems. The cable's not going to go bad, and if you lose the cable or it does go bad, it's really inexpensive to replace that. So I love the fact that they've eliminated the external power supply. They also include two connection cables. There's an optical SPDIF and a high-quality, high-definition HDMI cable. Now, this unit can connect to your monitor or your equipment in a lot of different ways. There's a standard stereo left and right 3.5mm auxiliary connection, which is the lowest quality. There's an optical SPDIF you can use this cable to make the connection for, which gives you better quality. And there's also an HDMI and an HDMI eARC and ARC connection on the back of it, which is going to give you the most functionality. You can use any of those connections and still get great audio, but my recommendation is to go with the HDMI. If you don't have an HDMI connection that has eARC on your monitor, go with the optical or go with the analog, but I love the fact that all three give you that connection possibility. The reason I'm making a big deal out of the cables is because a lot of times you'll look at a soundbar and think, boy, that looks perfect. You get it home, you get all excited to hook it up, you open up the box and you're missing a cable. And then you've got to go scrambling around trying to find an optical cable or an HDMI cable that works, that's the right quality, and that's another expense you got to deal with. Again, Denon's giving you everything you need to use this right out of the box, including the connection cables you'll need to make that critical connection to your monitor. Next thing I want to point out is they've included an infrared remote control. Now, this seems like a small thing as well, but if you think about it, your soundbar is over by your monitor, you're sitting back in your comfortable chair or on the couch with your wife or your loved one, and you got to get up to adjust the volume. So having a remote control that I can push a button and adjust that volume from across the room is a really big benefit. So I like the fact they've included that. The other thing that's important is if you're using the HDMI connection, especially if you're using the ARC or the eARC connection, that allows you to use a feature of HDMI called CEC, which is Consumer Electronics Control. And all that acronym means is that one remote can control everything that's connected through HDMI. So if you've got a TV with a DVD player connected, maybe a streaming player, maybe your cable box, one remote allows you to change the volume, change the channels, pause and fast forward different media content on there. So you can use this to do a lot of that, or you can use the remote from one of those devices to do the same thing, even change the volume on your soundbar. So using the HDMI connection over ARC or eARC gives you a lot more functionality than going through the optical or the analog. So always, again, go with the HDMI if you can do it. The last thing they include is a set of standoffs for the brackets, because when you mount this to the wall, you may not want it flush up against the wall. You may want it off the wall a quarter of an inch or so, just to give you better acoustics, and they include those brackets. So when I said they've included everything you need to use it right out of the box, you could literally have this thing set up in 5 minutes and be enjoying that enhanced audio in no time. Now let me talk about the soundbar a little bit, because the whole point of buying this is to enhance the audio from your media. The challenge is most widescreen monitors have terrible speakers. Even if they have multiple speakers, they're terrible speakers, because the race has been on for the last couple of years to make the TVs thinner and smaller. And the challenge is for you to generate any kind of frequency response, whether it be high end or low end, you need big speakers, and you need speakers that can move an awful lot. With a thin TV, they can't move that well. So what you'll find is most modern monitors really suffer on the low end of the frequency spectrum. So you're missing a lot of bass response. If you're watching any kind of scary movie where there's a monster or a dinosaur, that's on the lower end of it. A lot of dialogue is on the lower end of it. So if you've got a TV set up and don't have an external speaker system like a soundbar, you're going to get all the mid-range crammed in where it all starts sounding the same. It's hard to hear dialogue. You can't really pick up different words from different people a lot of times, especially if you're watching an action movie. There could be bullets whizzing by on the high end and dinosaurs growling on the low end. So to get that theater-like experience, you need to enhance that audio system. Denon's built in everything you need into the soundbar to do that. So there are two sets, a set of mid-range and a set of tweeters that are firing audio directly at you out of the front of the unit. There's a woofer on the bottom of it that throws the audio down. So it's throwing the bass down, because with the bottom end of the spectrum of audio, you're feeling it more than you're hearing it. So having it hit the ground and then rumble across the carpet to you is a really good thing. So you've got a combination of speakers that give you that full frequency response where you're going to hear the highs, you're going to hear the lows. More importantly, you're going to feel that bass. Another thing they built in was an external connection on the back for a woofer or a subwoofer off the back. So if you want to add another subwoofer that takes that frequency down even lower, you can plug it into the back of the unit. It's completely integrated at that point, and any audio that's sent to the soundbar is sent to that woofer, that subwoofer that's external. So they've really thought about the audio quality of this, and they've actually built in an enhanced feature that even though you may connect over optical or the analog left and right, you can't really do surround sound coming in through analog. This can do a surround sound, sort of a virtual surround sound. So if you're listening to some of the newer movies that are spatially clocked, which basically means that when you're watching the movie, if a bullet whizzes by on this side, it's going to sound like the bullet's going through on this side. It's not going to sound like it's just coming out of the TV. So that virtual surround sound, which is built into this unit, helps to enhance that feature. So when you're watching those movies, it really does bring you into the theater where, you know, you're turning this way to listen to one guy, you're turning that way to listen to another guy. There's a dinosaur over here, there's bullets whizzing over there, there's a tank behind you. So this gives you all that experience, which really draws you into that experience a little bit deeper. So that's pretty cool. Another thing they built in, which I love about this product, is they've got Bluetooth connectivity. So if the TV's not on and you decide you're having a little party and you got some friends over, you can connect this up to your phone or your tablet or any device that can broadcast over Bluetooth and use it as a sound system. And again, because it's got the 5-speaker system set up, it sounds really good. So you can use it for the TV, you can use it as a Bluetooth speaker. I think they've thought of everything, and I just really like this unit. And like I'd mentioned before, I think the cosmetics on it are really nice. They've really built a product that looks like a high-end product that'll fit into any decor. It's got the black high-impact plastic on the back. It's got this beautiful cloth on the front, little Denon logo right there in the center. When this turns on, you've got lights in the center to let you know what the relative volume of the unit is. Also, some of the functionality is indicated by those lights, and that's fully explained in the manual. But in general, You're going to set this down on your media center, or you're going to mount it to a wall. You're going to make a connection to your monitor. You're going to go through a couple of configuration steps. And again, in 5 minutes, you're going to be listening to incredibly good audio quality. So I like it a lot. I've been using it for the last couple of weeks here at the house. And I'll tell you, before we plugged this in, the movies were good. Once we plugged this in, I really felt like I was in the theater. I'm sitting there eating my popcorn thinking, boy, this is just like being in one of those megaplexes where they've got that great audio system, because this really enhances the audio to that level. So I like it a lot. I think you'll like it a lot as well. That's all I have for today. So it's a great product. Denon is a company that's been around forever. They've made some really, really nice high-end audio equipment. And the fact that they came out with a soundbar that I can use in my home that's relatively inexpensive is a really good move. So I hope you found this review helpful. Thanks again for watching, and as always, stay nerdy.